Happy first day of school, everybody. It's the first day of religious education for children and youth of this church year. And I know that's always an exciting milestone, the first day of something. So I'm excited for all of the learning and growing that will happen in our classrooms and in this space and in all of the other spaces in which we gather online, together, in person, all of it. And those of you in this space have noticed that our screen is not working. So what an appropriate day to return to this technology of a hymnal. So we do list all the hymn numbers in our order of service, and everything that's below 1,000 is in this book. The things beyond that are in a different book. We don't have enough copies to share with you all with, so you might just get to listen or learn by ear on those ones. So come, let us gather together. Come, let us learn from and with each other. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Mazeroche, and I am on the Sunday Service Committee, and I am the Sunday Service Coordinator this week. I have been so thrilled this morning to see a lot of older faces, people I haven't seen for a very long time, and to see a lot of new faces. And I'm reminded of something Jill McAllister would sometimes somewhat hyperbolically say, that sometimes the most radical act we can do in this world is to introduce ourselves. So I'd like you to take a second, and I'd like you to reach across and say hello to somebody that you know, say hello to somebody that you don't know, and welcome everybody to this space.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you again.
Gotta say hi to somebody. Yeah. I like this shirt.
I invite you to continue those conversations when the service is over. I know. I have to do announcements now, which is not something to make you be quiet for, but they are important. So, today, following the service, is our first session of our new class that Diane and I have created, Coming of Age for Youth and Adults. So it's open to people who are high school age or older, and there's childcare available for younger ones. So this is a class to discern our values, think about our beliefs, be in conversation with one another, and come to clarity, and perhaps even a faith statement by the end of the church year. It starts today, and it will meet on the first Sunday of the month going forward. So the logistics for that class is when the service ends, the lunch for people attending the class will be served out of the kitchen, which is right through here, and folks can eat in the classrooms on this side of the building, 6, 7, 8, or outside. Adults, you are responsible for feeding any children that are in your care. And the class begins at 12:30 in room 9, also known as the Buddha room, and the child care will begin in the kids' room over there. Today is the last Sunday to bring in cans and bottles in support of the Black Lives Matter meal train until the spring. So please don't bring them in because we don't want to have to deal with them until the spring. But thank you so much for your generosity. The group is kind of at capacity and just needs to take a pause for the winter. We assume we'll be starting up in the spring and we'll let you know. What do you get when Catholic religious sisters bake cookies, a post-evangelical pastor arranges charcuterie boards, and the leader of Kalamazoo's queer Bible study manages the decor? It's the Great Coming Out Social, which is happening this Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. at Phoenix Community Church, UCC, which is on Winchell. And it's an event for people of all ages and all identities to celebrate National Coming Out Day. I will be one of the hosts for the event, and I hope you come. So that's 6 to 8 on Wednesday. I think we over-ordered on the food, so come and have dinner and maybe take some food home too. And next Sunday, we will have a real treat of a service. Dr. Charlay Davis, who's the executive director of Isaac, the congregation-based community organizing project we are part of, will be here with us. So she is an inspiring speaker and will be talking about equity and beloved community. So please attend however you're able, in person, on Zoom, or watching the recording later on YouTube. And now Rachel Baer has a few things to share about the upcoming People's Church Bazaar.
Morning. My name is Rachel Baer. I am here to ask for your help with this year's Fine Art Sale and Holiday Bazaar, our largest annual church fundraiser. This is Mara. On Saturday, November 18th, this building will be transformed into a beautiful holiday shopping experience. Hundreds of people from the community will come through our doors to shop for unique gifts from 25 local artists and to buy our specialty items, delicious baked goods, and handmade crafts that all of you prepare and contribute. The success of this bazaar depends on the generosity of our many volunteers, and we need your help. Here are our 3 most urgent bazaar-related volunteer needs in the coming week. Number 1, make pasties with Chef Bob. This is a great opportunity to get to know other people's people as you help make our famous pasties. There are several spots open over the next few weekends. On Friday afternoons, you get to chop vegetables using a really cool tool thing that you'll enjoy a lot. It's very cathartic and satisfying. On Saturday mornings, you can roll out dough and assemble and bake the pasties. And on Saturday afternoons, you can cool and wrap and package the pasties. So that's pasties. Opportunity number 2, make Swedish limpa bread with Martha Beverly. Martha has generously offered to lead 3 workshops in her home to teach you how to make limpa bread, which is one of our top sellers at the bazaar. 2 of the workshops are already full, but there are several remaining spots for this Wednesday evening, Wednesday, October 11th, from 6 to 9 p.m. Don't miss this opportunity. It is wonderful and nourishing in lots of ways. And opportunity number 3, join the yard sign brigade. We need 25 for $25. Please sign up at the bazaar table and contribute $25 to order a new yard sign to help promote this event. Last weekend, we had 11 people sign up, which is an excellent start. So thank you to those of you who signed up. And we need 14 more orders before October 22nd. Sign up for any of these opportunities at the bazaar table in the foyer today after service or online. Thank you. Thanks, Bud.
Morning, y'all. We got it. Morning, y'all. I invite you to rise in body or spirit to sing our opening song together. A lot of you know this one. We've got a couple of parts, and I'm going to start with the bottom part. So give yourself some rhythm. You can clap, you can snap. I don't care. I'm just snapping. Here's the bottom part. It goes. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in front of the other one. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, and lead with love. One more time. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in front of the other one. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, and lead with love. You gotta put 1 foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put 1 foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put 1 foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put 1 foot in front of the other. And just me on the verse here. Don't give up hope. You're not alone. Don't you give up. Keep moving on. You gotta put 1 foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put 1 foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in front of the other one. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, and lead. Lift up your eyes. Don't you despair. Look up ahead. The path is there. You gotta put 1 foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put 1 foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in front of the other one. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, and I know you're scared. And I'm scared too. But here I am. Right next to you. Last time. You gotta put 1 foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put 1 foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in front of the other one. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, and lead with love. Thank you.
Thank you, Savannah. Could I have Noah come up and light our chalice for us this morning? Do you know him? Good. All right. Growing up, we say as though we were trees, as though altitude was all there was to be gained. But so much of the process of growing, so much of the process of growing whole as the fragments are gathered. You can put that one out, though. You don't need, just put it down. That's perfect. Human infants are born with craniums made up of 4 plates that have not yet knit together into a solid dome so that their heads can compress to fit through the birth canal so that the brain within can be expanded. The seams of these plates are intricate, like fingers interlaced, like the meander of Arctic rivers across the tundra, or the meander of Arctic rivers across the tundra. The skull quadruples in size in the first few years, and if the bones knit together too soon, they restrict the growth of the brain. And if they don't knit at all, the brain remains unprotected. Open enough to grow and closed enough to hold together is what a life must also be. We collage ourselves into being, finding the pieces of a worldview and people to love and reason to live, and then integrate them into a whole, a life consistent with its beliefs and desires, at least if we're lucky.
In addition to our chalice here at People's Church, this morning from our Zoom congregation, we have a chalice lit in Pawpaw.
Good morning. It is an exciting day to be at People's Church, especially if you're involved in the religious education program. We have important work to do and fun to have and connections to make in our RE program this year. And one of the things that I'm especially excited about is that our curriculum pillar focus is on Unitarian Universalism. And as I mentioned last week, that we're living in a world that is increasingly fragmented and divided and frightening. What a blessing that we can come here every week and be reminded of the values of our faith that help us to remember how to be our best selves, live according to our highest ideals of how we wish to live in the world, and the blessing of having community to connect with every week to help us remember again and again how to be our best selves and thus work forward each day in building this beloved community, this world in which we want to live, where we are leading with love. So in that, I want to invite our religious education teachers and subs to come up to the front of the church and stand on the steps with me, because these are the people who have answered the call to work with our children and our youth this year to help guide and partner with them as our kids explore their values and their faith and figure out how to live to be their best selves in the world, how to remind them again and again how to make choices that bring forth more love and more peace and more healing and more justice in the world. Our elementary and preschoolers are learning about Unitarian Universalism. Our middle schoolers are exploring our whole lives, sexuality, education, and our teens are going to be also exploring aspects of UUism and building community and connection together. And then our teens are invited to our coming of age for teens and adults for the inaugural first time ever today. We're doing a combined program because we all need help reminding us or remembering or discovering again and again, what are my most important values of how I want to live in the world, and how do I get the support that I need to choose again and again how to live according to my best ideals and be my best self and bring forth more love in the world. So I would like to start with a round of applause for this group of people. Thank you for answering the call. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for agreeing to share your time and your love and your energy with our youth and our children in our RE program this year. We are so blessed. We are so grateful. And so we are going to begin with a covenanting by Raffi for honoring the children. So hopefully you brought your order of service up with you. This is not on the screen. There's yours, or you can share. So I'm going to invite the congregation first to say with me this initial part here. We find these joys to be self-evident, that all children are created whole, endowed with innate intelligence and are wonder. All children are worthy of respect as the embodiment of life, liberty, happiness. Children are original blessings, here to learn their own song. Every child is entitled to love, dream, and belong to a living community. And now I invite our religious education teachers to say this together. We affirm our duty to nourish and nurture the young, to honor their caring ideals as the heart of being human. We recognize the early years as the foundation of life and cherish the contribution of children to human evolution. And the congregation, we commit ourselves to peaceful ways and vow to keep children from harm or neglect. As guardians of their prosperity, we honor the bountiful earth whose diversity sustains us. Thus we pledge our love for generations to come. And now I'd like to invite one teacher from each class to grab one of these candles and light it from the main chalice in our sanctuary and take it with you. So a piece of the flame shall go forth to each class to help light your chalice. And with that, we are all going to go for our first day of classes.
Sing along. Go forth in peace, in search of wisdom, with love to guide you on your way, and may the joy of life surround you wherever you may go. Go forth in peace, in search of wisdom, with love to guide you on your way. And may the joy of life surround you wherever you may go.
This being the first day of RE classes, Rachel had to, I think, make sure her own show. Oh, there we go. I was going to talk about it.
This room, it's all a little scary.
It's exciting and scary.
Yeah. People's people are generous people in so many ways. One of the ways is once a month, we send our collection out into the world to do good and important work in our community. And our offering beneficiary this month is Care Collective of Southwest Michigan, which was inspired by Taya Wadsworth-Kukuru, who spoke to us all last week. So now I would invite Sarah and Jay to come forward and tell us a little bit about the good and important work of this organization. And don't start passing the baskets yet. We want you to be inspired and add a 0 to whatever it is you're going to give, or at least, something.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. My name is Sarah. I'm the director of Care Collective, and this is my colleague Jay, the outreach manager. And we're going to tell you a little bit about the work we do and the need in Kalamazoo, because we were contacted by youth in your congregation who wanted to support our work and get period supplies into KPS schools. So a couple of quick definitions to make sure we're all on the same page. We use the phrase period products to talk about pads, tampons, menstrual products of all kinds. We've moved away from using the term feminine hygiene products because we know that people of all genders can menstruate and there's no harm in being inclusive. Period poverty is a term we use a lot in basic needs banking world. And it means an insufficient access to the period products that somebody needs during their monthly period. And This is something that we're not used to talking about, but it's actually really, really common. About 1 in 4 high school students nationally experiences period poverty, where they miss class as a result of not having the products they need. And those statistics map on well to what we know about need in Kalamazoo, where specifically looking at young people, about half of children, tweens, and teens in Kalamazoo County live in families where their households don't earn enough to meet their basic needs. And if you look at households, specifically BIPOC families, it's more than 3/4. And so we know from those statistics and from working in the community that students are experiencing period poverty who are in KPS schools and in our community. So Care Collective, we provide diapers through menstrual products, looking at it as making sure kiddos have what they need from birth through young adulthood. And your church is now hosting a period product drive. So what we do with period products is we assemble them into monthly period kits and distribute them through partnerships with local organizations. Primarily, we work with communities and schools, which helps us get the monthly period kits into KPS schools. And then we also partner with Outfront, providing gender-affirming menstrual products, JABS, which is an anti-bullying organization, and Fatherhood Network. And we're just getting started.
If you wanted to visit our website to learn more about us, you could also sign up for our newsletter, follow us on social media. Not only would those things make me look like I'm really good at my job, but it would also allow you to expand the all-important collective, as we call it. We are a community-driven organization. All of our work is conducted through partner organizations. Our kits are packaged by volunteers. Products are purchased by donors or donated to drives such as the one that you guys are hosting right now. So if you want to be a part of what we're working on, the door is always open. Our website is Care Collective SWMI for Southwest Michigan, carecollectiveswmi.org. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and weirdly LinkedIn at Care Collective SWMI as well. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for allowing us to speak here today. Thank you.
No, you have to go to reset first. You have to do numbers alone. Oh, you don't.
Please join me in giving thanks for all that sustains us. From the countless gifts we each have been given, gifts of life and love and sustenance, we bring these small portions to share in the works of love which none of us can accomplish alone.
And note that our period products drive is continuing at the church for 2 more Sundays. So if you want to throw something extra in your shopping cart and bring it here, that would be amazing. People's Church is a community that supports one another in good times and in hard times. One of the ways we do that is by taking time when we gather to invite those who wish to share the joys and sorrows and milestones of their lives. So if you have something you want to share, I invite you to come forward, place a stone in our bowl of water, speak briefly and share your name. If you are with us on Zoom, I invite you to type into the chat box what you wish to share and make sure you either include your name or your screen name is obviously you. I now place more stones for all of the joy and the sorrow we're holding quietly in our heart, the joy and sorrow in our wider world, and then our wider community as well. Sources of reason and radiance, sources of courage and compassion, keep watch with those who work or watch or weep this day. May the suffering be soothed. May the weary find rest. May the sick be tended. May the dying and those who love them find peace. May the joyous be shielded. And may all of us know we are wrapped in a love that surrounds us always, a web that connects us to all that exists. Our roots of resilience. Feel the gravity of the earth holding you in place. Wiggle your toes as if they were roots. Roots that connect you to the earth, lending you strength. Gently sway in the wind, or the imagined wind, turning your body like the trunk of a tree. Leaning this way and that, bending as air pushes and pulls. What surrounds you may sway you, make you bend and feel unbalanced. Wiggle your toes. Know that your roots can hold you as you grow and as you learn. A tree is nourished by the soil and water. You are nourished by food the earth grows and the water it provides. You are cared for and loved by many people. Breathe deeply. Still yourself. Know that your roots are strong. Wiggle your toes.
I invite you to join us in song from your seats. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
We have ceased trying to tie up all loose ends. We have discovered that life does not need to be neat. We have more questions than answers, and this is a great delight to us. We trust the mystery of life without having to possess it. We cherish the feeling of awe that has grown within our soul. Some seek answers as strong as questions as weak. Some see answers as strong and questions as weak. Successful politicians have all the answers, but I tell you the truth. The happy person is not the one. The happy person is not the one with all the answers. Each new question is an affirmation of the delight of living. What new question have you discovered today?
In the dark. Agabiga. It was a word, my friend explained, known only to her and her siblings. It didn't even quite have a meaning. It was something that you said in the dark to find out if anyone else was awake. Agabiga. The tiniest of flares sent up to find out whether you were quite as alone as you felt. A shortwave signal pushed out in search of a receiver. The wave of an invisible hand. Agabiga. It is so dark and quiet. I can't see you, can't touch you. It is possible that nonetheless, you are still there. From Recollections of My Non-Existence by Rebecca Solnit. Growing up, we say, as though we were trees, as though altitude was all that there was to be gained. But so much of the process is growing whole as the fragments are gathered, the patterns found. Human infants are born with craniums made up of 4 plates that have not yet knit together into a solid dome, so that their heads can compress to fit through the birth canal, so that the brain within can then expand. The seams of these plates are intricate, like fingers interlaced, like the meander of Arctic rivers across tundra. The skull quadruples in size in the first few years, and if the bones knit together too soon, they restrict the growth of the brain. And if they don't knit together at all, the brain remains unprotected. Open enough to grow and closed enough to hold together is what a life must also be. We collage ourselves into being, finding the pieces of a worldview and people to love and reasons to live, and then integrate them into a whole, a life consistent with its beliefs and desires, at least if we're lucky.
Once again, I invite you to join us in song from your seats. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share. With love and care, oh, we give thanks for this precious day. You sound great. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away. For this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
In my early 20s, I had a spiritual crisis. Perhaps you've had these moments too, time when it becomes clear that your beliefs no longer serve you and you have to adjust. It's a painful part of a spiritual life. Here's what happened to me. As I grew up Unitarian Universalist, my child mind had translated our principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, to mean that people are good. Full stop, no nuance. I didn't understand the big words, what's inherent mean anyway, so I made them simple. People are good. And I didn't seriously question that belief as I moved through adolescence to adulthood. And I was loved enough and lucky enough and idealistic enough and oblivious enough that I could make it to young adulthood before seriously questioning my child faith in human goodness. And then it all fell apart. There was friendship drama and romantic drama and a college class on genocide that made me face the human capacity for cruelty in all of its varied forms, from social slights to slaughters. People aren't good, at least not always. How do I live without my faith in humanity? Did my faith lie to me? Do I still get to be Unitarian Universalist? And so, like the children in the poem I read earlier, I put out a metaphorical call, an agabiga, the tiniest of flares, to find out whether I was quite as alone as I felt. The local Unitarian Universalist minister met me for lunch at the campus dining hall. I laid out my crisis of faith, and he sat with me patiently. He affirmed my questions and asked some of his own, offered his perspective without expecting me to agree with him. And that lunch didn't fix it by any means, but it helped. By the end of the meal, I felt less alone, at least. I wasn't alone in my questions. They were worthy. I didn't have to leave Unitarian Universalism. There was possibility. I could deconstruct my childhood faith and reconstruct a new view of human nature more aligned with the world that I actually lived in. I could grow a faith that made space for both inherent worth and human cruelty. Have you had moments like this? Spiritual turning points where someone gently accompanies you through the painful growth, where your questions were welcomed and not answered too quickly or dismissed? That's not always how it goes, we know. A decade after that first spiritual crisis, I had another one. As many of you know, Brian, my spouse, and I experienced infertility and pregnancy loss before we had our kids. And those years brought another spiritual crisis and so many questions. Why me? Why us? Other people seem to have babies so easily, sometimes without even wanting to, and yet here we were. It all seemed so unfair, and I was so angry. I wasn't quite sure who I was angry at, but I was angry. And so I sought out a support group for pregnancy loss, and I did not find support. I showed up with my anger, expecting others to rage against the universe or God or whoever it was that doled out the babies. And they all spoke about how their loss must be part of God's plan. And it wasn't for them to ask questions, but to find acceptance. They shared platitudes that aren't in line with our Unitarian Universalist theologies or most mature theologies from any tradition. God won't give you more than you can handle. When God closes a door, God opens a window. You know these, I'm sure. Everything happens for a reason. And I know they meant to be helpful, to share what worked for them, but it wasn't my truth and it didn't help. So I wept in that support group, feeling even more alone, and did not go back. I wish I'd had a Unitarian Universalist community in my life then. And I imagine many of you have had moments in your life like this too, where you have emotions that just aren't welcome, where you realize that there isn't room for your questions and your dilemmas, where a community that might be a good fit for others just doesn't work for you. So I found my path towards healing in other ways, toward a theology that makes room for randomness and chance, where bad things happen and unfair things happen just because they happen, without some grand scheme or narrative arc behind them. With time and with spiritual work, the why me became a now what. So I tell these stories today on the first Sunday of religious education for children and youth as a reminder. Sometimes I worry that when we sing our children out to go forth in peace in search of wisdom, we forget that it's also our work to go forth in peace or in tumult or whatever we're in search of wisdom. Religious growth and learning, spiritual maturation, weathering spiritual crises, and coming to deeper understandings is lifelong work. When our youth go through our coming of age program, we ask them to share statements of faith with the congregation, which are snapshots of their values and beliefs at a particular moment. It's a powerful program. And we know the work of coming of age, of growing spiritually, does not end after a particular series of classes. We face questions and crises and losses and new learnings throughout our lives. And if we are doing our faith right, if we are doing Unitarian Universalism right, those experiences shift our values, shift our practices, shift our beliefs. We discard the things that don't work anymore and reconstruct something that does. We collage ourselves whole, as our reading suggested, again and again and again. We remain open enough to grow and closed enough to hold together. We come of age, and then we come of age again, and then something happens and we come of age again and again and again. And we need community to do this work well, to hold us in our questions and our doubts and give us support as we construct a faith. This is why today, Diane Melvin, our religious educator, and I are so excited to facilitate this first session of our new class, Coming of Age for Youth and Adults, Articulating and Discerning Values. Many of you adults who've been part of this community for a while have expressed to us admiration for those youth who can stand here and speak with such clarity and such conviction about what they believe. And sometimes there's a little bit of jealousy in your voice too when you say that. And so this is your moment to be welcomed into that process of discernment, of articulation, of sharing in like-hearted, if not like-minded community, and learn about the truth as you understand it and hear the truth articulated in other people's voices and say, oh yeah, I agree with that. I'll incorporate that into my own view. Please attend. It will be good. And of course, there are plenty of ways to grow spiritually in community at People's Church. About a year and a half ago, Diane and I took a class together about adult faith formation, about how to help adults grow spiritually. And one of the things that the leaders kept repeating was that a good religious education program for adults has huddles and mixes. Huddles and mixes. So huddles is a sports metaphor, I'm told, where people join together based on a similar life stage or interest or identity. That's football, right? Okay, thanks. My sports-loving eldest would be so ashamed of me right now. But so our huddles in this church include our young adult chalice circle, and our Art of Aging book study. If you look on the back towards the back of your order of service, you'll see all these things that I'm going to talk about. The Inquirers series is a huddle for people who are newer to the church. And sometimes we find our huddles beyond the boundaries of this community. Many of you find spiritual huddles outside of this church in Hindu or Buddhist or Muslim or pagan communities and more. The healing whiteness work offered through Isaac, racial caucusing through Erase, and participation in DRUM, Diverse and Revolutionary UU Multicultural Ministries, an organization by and for UUs of color, are huddles based on racial identity. And when we join with others who share something with us, there's often a kinship, a solidarity that makes it easier to reach the spiritual and emotional depths. And our mixes are programs for everyone, or all adults at least. And there's a different sort of growth and learning when it's kind of more of a random group that is thrown together, when we're bound by our shared values, but not much else to grow and learn and think and share together. So this is what happens in our chalice circles and in our book and film and study groups. And the coming of age for youth and adults is a mix. It's from high schoolers to the end of life, everybody mixed together, hopefully. And none of these mixes are representative of the congregation as a whole, but the mix of people present encourages growth and connection and conversation. I think so many of us exist for so much of our lives in kind of siloed worlds, whether we're mostly around the people who live near us or who are in similar stages of life or who have similar professions. And so it's good to be connected across generations, across identities, across neighborhoods, across all of those different ways of being. And it is good to bring those shared questions, those things that we struggle with, to those sorts of groups and get new perspectives. So if you're looking at this book, at this list of all the different things that we're offering right now, and see a gap, and listen to this part too, and have energy to help fill it, right? There's no shortage of good ideas around here. The shortage is somebody willing to say, I will be the one who makes it real. Come and talk to me. So this sermon has been a bit of a course catalog so far. And these opportunities for growth and spiritual connection matter, which is why I want to highlight them today. They matter spiritually, but they also matter to us physically. Last May, Dr. Vivek H. Murthy, the Surgeon General of our country's top doctor, published an advisory called Our Epidemic of Loneliness and Isolation. It goes into details about declines in social connection in our country, which have been exacerbated by the pandemic. And loneliness is really bad for us. It impacts us biologically, psychologically, and leads us towards less healthy behaviors. So loneliness and isolation increase our risks for heart attacks and strokes. Older adults are 50% more likely to develop dementia if they are lonely. Lonely children and lonely youth are more likely to have depression and anxiety. These impacts happen because of the way our bodies metabolize stress hormones, through the ways genes turn off and turn on. The science of all of this is really interesting. And if you add up all of these health impacts, the Surgeon General reports that loneliness is as deadly for an American as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's not small. And while the length of a life isn't always the best measure of a life well lived, this loneliness epidemic is worth taking seriously. And we as a church have a role to play in ending the epidemic of loneliness. We know how to be a community. People seek us out when they are new in town, when their previous religious community didn't fit anymore, when they or their children start asking questions without easy answers, when they experience a change or transition and need companions to help find their way through. I imagine for many of us, that is how we started coming the first time. And we can help fill those gaps, help people be a little less lonely, for the people already who are coming in and for the people who are already here, because loneliness will come for us all. And the truth is here that Sunday morning attendance is usually not enough to overcome loneliness, because as much as we might wish it were otherwise, you can't actually have a strong social connection with everyone else in this room right now. And we just can't, our brains, we're incapable actually of having that many close social connections. It's weird. So if you want to be known, to make friends, to have longer and more meaningful conversations that are possible in coffee hour, whether you've been part of this community for days or for decades, you need to find a smaller group. That could be the coming of age class or another group on today's course catalog. You could sign up to make pasties or otherwise help with the bazaar. Every Tuesday morning, our building and grounds group fights a valiant battle against the forces of chaos and entropy here at the church. And every Thursday evening, the bell choir and the choir make music. So look for a newsletter or the sign-up sheets in the foyer or talk to me. Smaller groups are where connections form and connections flourish, where loneliness withers. And that matters for our spirits, for our minds, for our hearts, for our bodies. As Dr. Murthy, the Surgeon General, writes, we are called to build a movement to mend the social fabric of our nation. It will take all of us. working together to destigmatize loneliness and change our cultural and policy response to it. It will require reimagining the structures, policies, and programs that shape a community to best support the development of healthy relationships. Each of us can start now in our own lives by strengthening our connections and relationships. Our individual relationships are a source of healing hiding in plain sight. They can help us live healthier, more productive, and more fulfilled lives. Answer the phone call from a friend. Make time to share a meal. Listen without the distraction of your phone. Perform an act of service. Express yourself authentically. The keys to human connection are simple, but extraordinarily powerful. Dr. Murthy continues, loneliness and isolation represent profound threats to our health and well-being, but we have the power to respond by taking small steps every day to strengthen our relationships and by supporting community efforts to rebuild social connection. We can rise to meet this moment together. We can build lives and communities that are healthier and happier, and we can ensure our country and the world are better poised than ever to take on the challenges that lay ahead. Our future depends on what we do today. So, may we learn and change together, huddling and mixing along the way. May we remain open enough to grow and closed enough to hold together. May we lessen loneliness for ourselves and for our communities. And may we come of age again and again and again. May it be so. May we make it so. And amen.
I invite you all to take a moment to crack open your hymnals to number 354 and to make a note while you are rising in body and spirit. Oh, nope, they're all on there. All right, never mind, no note. There's a page turn. It's a big one.
Most of all, we need close friends we can call our very own.
So may we go out to do the work that is ours to do, to grow our spirits and our souls, and to do our part to make the world a little less lonely. Let us go in peace and go in love.